Hey guys, what's going on? I hope you've been having a good long weekend. I thought I'd do my usual Jeff Bishop Bullseye trades review for the week. Before I get started, I just want to make sure that you guys are aware that in 17 days I'm going to be talking to Nate Bear. So, what what this is going to involve is basically a live interview on the channel here. It's going to be Wednesday, 31st of January, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Nate's totally well known for basically being one of the few traders to legitimately and having verified the fact that he traded $37,000 to $2.7 million in 4 years. And so this is fantastic, and I really hope you guys can join us on this live chat. So, in order to do that, the best option is to go and subscribe to the channel, because then hopefully, if you subscribe and hit the notifications bell, you'll get pop ups when we go live on Wednesday, the 31st of January. That's in 17 days from now, as this video has been made. Or you can come to the link in the description below, where I'll link you, and you can come and hit the notify me button as well. So those are ways to make sure you don't miss this particular event. I think this is one of the events I'm most excited about. I've interviewed so many people, including Jeff Bishop from Bullseye Trade, Jason Bonds, Stephen Brooks, Marcus Heitkotter, lots and lots of different people over the years. This one I'm extremely excited for, because it's very rare that you get to interview somebody who is this, this well vetted. And we're going to talk a bit about that, and if you kind of think about how he's been vetted and who he works for now and all this kind of stuff, you really find that this guy is really the real deal. And that's very rare in this industry, to have the level of transparency that Nate Bear gives, and it's something I'm definitely going to probe into a bit more during the live interview, as well as how on earth did he manage to do this, how we can follow along with him, and all the good stuff like that. So definitely make sure you are aware that that's coming up soon, because that's going to be a really fantastic event. So let's close some of these down. Let's rid of these. We don't need this either. Okay, so back to Bullseye basically. So with Bullseye, it's been another crazy week. So this is becoming very repetitive for me, where basically the Bullseye trade comes out and it takes off straight away, straight out the gates, and goes straight up. And the people that get in early make money, and the people that don't they just kind of give up on the service. So that keeps happening. If you want to see all the results for the whole of the last couple of years, check out the link in the description below. Take you to my full Bullseye trade review. Basically gives you an overview of the service, which is really simple. It's just one trade on a Monday, one options trade, usually calls, but sometimes puts. And so basically you can read all about the service here. There's an interview with Jeff and things here that I did, and also the full track record in this section right here, going all the way back to 2022. Now in 2022, this was a totally different service. The market was totally different, and the way the trades were working were completely different as well. So I was able to make consistent income with this service, because the market was going up and down so much, steadily down at some points during 2022, I was able to get dips on these 10-20% dips pretty much every week, and then they would recover by the end of the week and you'd make some profit. 2023 was a lot harder, and 2024 has sort of stayed the same at the moment. Strong bull markets you'd think would be really good, right? Like they are really good. The problem is they're too strong, and Jeff's picks are too, I don't want to say too good, but they're basically too fast, and he's got the direction right, but the timing is just so hard to get in. And so that's what you're seeing in comments. So like in my Discord here, you seeing this guy saying what I'm seeing Jeff do now is go after momentum plays after they shape up big pre-market, which is why everything is hot right now out of the gate on the Mondays. He previously was using plays that were medium to long term, so you could get entries. Combining this with a bubbly market, like a strong market, Bullseye is basically a quick hit service now. And he says that it's not bad, and it isn't bad. You can, and I did do this at one point, actually in 2021. I did this where you basically scalp the open. So you can jump in, scalp the open, and make some money from Bullseye. So, yeah, I think let's have a quick look at the play for the day. Let's see. So this last week on January 8th is the AMD calls. This is the Raging Bull dashboard, but you also get it via email. I still recommend the service, I just think there's a better one, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So let's have a look down here. Netflix worked out. Okay, so Bullseye picks this week are AMD calls. Let's see, I plan to start with a half size position. So yeah, so not really much information about why AMD. Here we go. So it's to do with the strong sectors that lead into the market is semiconductors. Yeah. So he was tempted to go with NVD when you want to go, but I think that stock has already made significant moves from the lows. But based on implied volatility and option liquidity, he's going with AMD. Yep. Alright, so basically on Monday, before the market opened, he said buy AMD calls, 145 calls near 165. And I noticed this is interesting. He wrote near. So I did actually talk to Jeff a week or two ago now, and I was telling him that this has been the problem is people aren't able to get into these trades, and they're getting frustrated. And so I noticed he just put near in italics. So maybe he's taken on board. He's like, don't take this as a set in stone price. Sometimes you might have to go to $2, or because I think that's one of the biggest problems is he's underestimating this price, and then people are following along blindly and saying, well, I'm not buying because he said 165, but then it opens at 2, and nobody really goes for it. The people that do it have been making money, but it's too risky because as soon as you start doing that right, they'll start pulling back all the time and you'll end up getting burned. So yeah, so let's look at the chart for AMD. It worked beautifully. This is Monday on the left here, these stupid ads. Monday on the left, and then all the way to Friday on the right here. So this is the whole week. And you can see right at the gates that we're gapping up pre-market, and then this thing just ripped all the way up Monday, all the way up Tuesday to here. And this would be over 100% winner, maybe even 150% winner, if you were able to get in quickly at the market open down here. But very few people were, because this gapped up so hard, started moving up so quickly, people were too frightened to jump in, from my experience, and then this thing ran. So Jeff is getting these things right, and this is the most frustrating thing, is he's getting them right. They're just really hard to trade, and that's very frustrating. And you can see that, I mean, it even went to his targets that he had. So let me go to, let's see here, so 144 and 146. 146 is like here, so it blew past his target, and it hit 144 within like 20-30 minutes, and I need to be out. So overall, a superb trade, just a very hard trade to replicate. And I think this is where Nate Bear that I was just talking about comes in. So here's part of the problem, and from what I see, is because, and I think Stalker in the Discord said the same thing, what Jeff is doing is he's looking for momentum pre-market. And that makes it very, very hard for people to get into the trades, right? Because it's already moving up really fast, really hard. And it's good. Trade's likely to work. But you can't get into options pre-market, so what's the point? Now, this could have gone up and pulled back down, and then everything would have been great. But it didn't, and a lot of them aren't doing that anymore, so they're just too strong. So it's just not a good market for Bullseye trades. I still recommend it, but maybe give it a break for a while. What people have been finding is that Nate Bear's service, where it's called Profit Surge Trader, so Nate Bear has a service called Profit Surge Trader, and it basically is very similar to Bullseye, except he does a live stream at noon on Monday. So he's not looking at things that are gapping up. It's a completely different trading strategy where he's actually looking at earnings winners for the whole month. So they'll maybe, like in November, there'll be a nice earnings gap up on, I think it was Target, in the end of November, and then for the whole of December he'll be playing the what's called the profit surge from those good earnings. So it's not based on pre-market momentum, and so it's much easier to get reliable, consistent entries, often at lower prices than Nate, every Monday on that particular stock for the month. And so I've been having much more success with that. It's been like so chilled out in comparison to Bullseye. And often I'll get 20% entries that are 20% less than Nate. And so that's part of the reason I'm getting more into this service. It costs a bit more than Bullseye trades. It's been reduced massively recently down to $179 for a whole year, which is ridiculous. You can, with one or two contracts per trade, you can make that back in like one trade or two trades without any difficulty whatsoever. So I encourage you to check out my full review. I'm trying to do what I did with Bullseye Trade, but with Nate's Profit Surge Trader here. So I have all the stuff about Nate Baer in case you don't know who he is. Basically, his story is amazing. He went from construction worker in 2015 to multimillionaire trader within just a few years after that, which is really cool. And so there's different webinar links here and how to purchase his service. But basically, I'm also putting in the videos and putting in like the actual, trades in here as well, so you can see those. And I always use this one as a good example where, unlike like Bullseye trades at the moment, this was announced at noon on Monday. It's a target trade, basically buying calls on target. And you can see it didn't just take off straight away like Bullseye has been. It actually trended down for a while, and I drew this line of support in, and I was like, okay, I could totally enter if it like holds this line here. And so I started to take a position down here, and little, boom, suddenly we go up all the way up. So a lot of people were getting in down here. I know one woman made 170% or something on this. It was ridiculous within a day. It was really cool. So this is my top pick for 2024 in terms of buying options. It's definitely what Bullseye used to be, but better in a lot of ways as well. And you get like more information about the technicals, about how things are going on with the entries and the exits and stuff inside the dashboard. You also get bonus trades, so it's not just one trade a week. A lot of people are not happy with just one trade. Well, he often does 2 or 3 trades. I try and stick with the main core trade, the main earnings winner that has this proven strategy behind it. But he's also very good at doing the TTM squeeze stuff, so sometimes he'll just pick stuff that has a TTM squeeze going and talk about it in a live stream as well and send out bonus trades on those. So there's lots to choose from. The other nice thing is he does actually have a legally, so they have a really good legal team there, and so I actually asked the legal team for the track record. Now the legal team is very aware of compliance and not making stuff up and all this stuff. So the nice thing is I got a nice summary of what the actual service has been as traded by Nate Baer. Whereas that's not something I've been able to get from Raging Bull, unfortunately. So yeah, so it's only like I said, 179 per year now. I don't know how long they're going to run it for because this is pretty low. I mean, they dropped it again to from 279 recently down to 179. I don't think they can sustain this. I mean, they must be taking a loss on this price. So it's really good, and it's getting very competitive with Bullseye trades. So yeah, so definitely check that out. I think if you're unhappy with Bullseye trades at the moment, and you want something you can actually get into, sometimes hours later and even the next day, then Nate Baer's Profit Surge Trader might be for you. If you're hesitant, wait until I do my interview on the 31st with him, and you can ask him yourself exactly what you're worried about, or any of that type of stuff. So I think it's my favorite service at the moment in terms of buying options, and yeah, he's very active in his chat as well. So during the live stream, you can ask him questions in his chat room. This is a huge service, though. There's thousands of people in this, so the chat's very, very active. And that's something I should actually point out with Bullseye Trades. Unfortunately, it's really gone downhill, because look at the number of comments here. There's like 2 people or 3 people commenting besides Jeff. This used to like run to pages because so many people were getting into the trades and going, great trade, 100%, 200%. Even on big winners now like AMD, because people can't get in them, they've just switched off from this service, which is really sad, but it's just kind of the way things are going. Joe here says, Jeff, you're on a roll, hope I'm not jinxing you. And Jeff's like, the pressure's on. I got in at 235 and out at 340, had a big amount. So there are people still trading these, so it's not like the end of the world, but it's definitely become much more stressful and more difficult. I don't think Jeff got this trade. He hasn't said he did, at least not yet. Anyway, hopefully that's helpful. If you're really getting frustrated with Bullseye trades, definitely consider switching to Nate Bears, Profit Surge Trader. Again, I'll leave all the links that I've talked about in the description below, and I'll talk to you guys soon.